recruiting. So today we're going to talk about double-digit recruiting from scratch. I think that this is a great topic to go over. Obviously, we've covered this a couple times before in the past, but as far as just starting from scratch, just kind of the mentality you have to have in order to get to double-digit recruit, and just thinking about things that you may have to sell yourself on, that I don't think we talk enough about. And then also just talking about obviously the mechanics of things. So I'm going to start off and go through just some simple things like a personal story, and then just a little bit of the intangibles of who you're working with and spending time with. And then we're going to have Josh go into some of the mechanics. Before I actually get into all of that too, this is awesome because this is now going to be is recorded. But I'm super, super excited about Josh and Lilix and what they're doing in our business. But we kind of have like a little birthday week. Lilix's birthday was last Friday. Josh's birthday is today. So hopefully everybody can congratulate him for another year living healthy, being prosperous. I'm just so proud to see where he's come from when he started just at 18 years old. Like it's just unbelievable to have him as a teammate and pretty much now a little brother to me. And so it's just cool to see how he's progressed in life and have a business like this that many people at 18 years old would never have been able to do. So super excited, bro, for you and the future to come. So let's get into it, guys. So first thing I want to talk about is your personal story. So your guys' personal story is literally the greatest story that has ever been told. And you have to believe that. It has to be the greatest story ever. And if you don't believe that, how do you expect to recruit anybody? Right? So this is something that I think, honestly, other than Josh and I and anybody that's been on the double digit recruiting call, I don't think we ever talk about personal story in our hierarchy through training and how good it needs to be and what it's supposed to do for you. So I think that this is insanely important. If you're going to get to the point of double digit recruiting, that only happens from you going out and telling your story over and over and over to as many people as possible. So you must know your personal story. And if it's not good, you're not going to be here long term, right? So what we mean by that, it has to inspire you, right? And the number one person that has to be motivated is you. So if you tell your story and you don't feel excited, jacked up, pumped, encouraged, inspired, like, oh my gosh, and you don't feel like you want to go tell that 10 more times to other people, you might want to make some adjustments to your story, right? It has to be extremely motivating. And it doesn't matter if it's not motivating everybody else, it needs to motivate you, number one, first and foremost. So think about this stuff. Like I'm going to go through like just the simple steps of I was, I am, I'm going, but it has to motivate you to get up and want to keep going and fight through everything that we deal with when you're dealing with recruiting. Some people just don't recruit at all. But if you are going to make that decision to recruit and be a builder, you have to be inspired through your story. So Bruce has always taught us that there are three major components of your personal story. So the first part is I was, second part is I am, and third part is I'm going. Very straightforward. I was, I am, I'm going, right? So let's break it down. I was, simple. What were you doing before the business, right? And Bruce says, hey, sometimes the worse it was before the business, sometimes the better, right? Some people are like a little ashamed of where they were, if they were struggling, what they were doing. They didn't go to school, they didn't get a degree, any of that stuff. Sometimes people worry about that, but sometimes that is what's going to connect with the person that you're talking to, right? I don't know how many times recently I've been saying, man, yeah, when I started this business, I was like extremely introverted. I didn't like talking to anybody. And I don't know how many times every single person that I've talked to, they were like, oh my gosh, that's me. I don't like talking to anybody either, right? And so sometimes the things that you feel are like the downplays of your previous life, that can connect with somebody. You never know. And so like, if you guys know Bruce's story, like he lived in a cellar, like in somebody's basement, right? And now he makes 1.2 million a year. So like when you tell people where you were and why you're making these changes, like that can connect, and you never know. So don't leave anything out. Like if it, I mean, obviously don't go like too much in detail, you know, but like let people know where you were and why you're passionate about making the changes you're making now. So that's I was. The next part is I am. What's happening now that's changing your life and that matters to you? So a couple examples of this could be like simple things, right? I'm self-improving. I'm reading books daily. I'm getting mentored by people that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I'm getting licensed in the state or multiple states. I'm going to be a part of the investment industry, which is one of the most lucrative industries in the world. I'm touching lives. I'm fighting a crusade. I'm saving people from terrible products. I'm mentoring young adults. I'm partnering up with women, single independent women, or just independent women overall. I'm working with former athletes that are extremely competitive. Just things that excite you, that's happening now, that's changing your life. And so like sometimes it can seem a little bland, like, oh, I'm in the business now and this is what I'm doing. No, you can put some life into it. What is your mission that you're doing now, not where you're going? We're going to talk about that in a second, but right now, what's changing on a day to day that you can show to the person that you're talking to? Because always remember this, guys, people aren't buying Primerica, they're buying you. They're buying you at all times. So if there's nothing that's changing you right now in your current situation on a day-to-day, what you're doing, why would they follow you? Why would they come join you? Right? So that's extremely important. And then the last one is I'm going. So I'm going is always where you have to be constantly focusing on. So the I'm going is usually a lot of times something you've never done before. Like I know, for example, Josh wants to be the youngest $1 million earner in the company. And since he started from 18 years old till now, like people just keep doing it quicker, 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 quicker. So that's motivating. I'm pretty sure like he's still going to do that, but you have to believe it. So there's things like that. It could be something like, I'm going to retire my parents. Obviously, if you haven't done that before, you got to believe in your heart that you're going to do that. I'm going to open up an orphanage. I'm going to have the most offices across the country. It's just whatever your going is, it's something you've never done. And because it's something you've never done, you have to truly, in your heart of hearts, believe that you can accomplish it. Because if you don't believe that you can accomplish it, people are going to tell. Like you just say it and then it's just like, okay, whatever. But you got to have some passion behind where you're going, right? And it should get people excited. And it doesn't have to be like, obviously, 12 to 18 months. Anything can happen in 12 to 18 months. But sometimes when we talk about where we're going, people say, oh, I'd love to have like this huge $3 million home and all these nice cars and all these things. That stuff's gonna happen. It's going to happen, but it'll happen probably in the next 3, 5, 10 years or so, right? Hopefully not too long, like 10 years. But where are you going in the next 12 to 18 months? Because sometimes when we start thinking about things that are like way in the distance, it becomes fuzzy. And you don't really focus on that on a daily basis. You're like, yeah, it's coming. This is what I'm going to be doing, but you're not really focused every single day on hitting that. So when you think about what can happen in the next 12 to 18 months, hey, I'm going to have a licensed agency of 10 agents in the next 12 months. In the next 12 months, I'm going to get my securities license. In the next 6 to 12 months, I'll be part of that industry. In the next 6 to 12 months, I'll upgrade my car, not to a Lamborghini, but go from a Civic to, I don't know, a Lexus. I don't know. Steps, guys, baby steps. You're never going to jump from a Civic to the Lamborghini. That usually doesn't happen, right? Work your way up. I'm going to move out of an apartment into a condo. I'm going to buy my first home, right? things that you can see. I'm going to go on a vacation that's like 6 days long and it's like $1,000. I've never done that in my life. Things like that. Those are things that you can see in the next 12 to 18 months. And that'll keep you motivated through the daily grind. You still have to have your long-term goals, but also make sure that you know what's going to happen coming in the next year or so, or less, sometimes 6 months, because when you focus on that and you tell yourself that as many times as you're telling your personal story, it's reinforcing it in your mind. But then the people that you're actually talking to, hopefully they'll be around in the next 6 to 12 months. And now when you actually do accomplish that, I mean, it's huge, guys. It's huge. So a lot of that I think is very important. But then here's something else, because we are working with people, it has to be inclusive and encourage others to want to go with you. So when we're talking about where you're going and expansion, you have to include people in that. Hey, like, for example, what I'm saying, hey, we're super excited about expanding nationally. Like, through COVID, we've exploded our business and now we're able to hire people all over the country. So we're looking to open up offices in, like, I'm in Virginia, but we want to open up offices in California, Texas, New York, Florida. And if you could be a part of that, that would be great. We're looking for some key leaders to do that. Or, hey, we're looking for some people that want to start part-time, maybe get something going, but excited about having a business where they can make 100 grand a year. If my organization can help train 10 people that can make 100 grand a year, we'll be $1 million organization, right? Something that can include people in it, right? It doesn't have to be even that big. It could be like, hey, like I said earlier, I need 10 agents right away that are licensed in insurance and investments right away that can be my top producers. I'm looking for people like that. So now they're inclusive and they want to go with you, not just, oh, I would love to be in business or something that's not super self-focused, but make sure that you can encourage them and have them be inclusive in what you're doing, because then they want to go with you. And the last thing is, vagueness inspires no one, right? Your story has to be crystal clear in your mind, crystal clear. And people say a picture says 1,000 words. So get something where you can have the pictures in front of you so it's clear. Because if it's not clear, you're not going to explain it well to whoever you're talking to, and you're not going to believe it. So if you don't know what your goals are, what you're doing, where you're going, you're not going to be able to convey it to your recruit, right? And if it's cloudy in your mind, then your activity is cloudy, your daily, what you're doing daily is cloudy, everything's cloudy. And it's just like going through. We don't want to be in the situation when we're at our job. And some people, I'm not saying jobs are bad, but some people love their job. That's great. Some people don't want to be at their job. And a day to day, when you're at your job, everything's vague. You're just doing the same thing every single day at all times. Here, you should be going for something to get away from that or have a better lifestyle. And so make sure that it's not vague and you guys can focus on those specifics and it's crystal clear in your mind. So here's some intangibles. Always remember that the number one issue when it comes to building is that you're just not wide enough. So there's two types of width. Pure width, which is people that are direct to you. Like I hire Cardney, right? I hire Milton. I hire Mo. Those are people that are direct to me. Now, people under them is your width depth. How many people under those people? How many people do you have under the people that are direct to you? So Josh is like my biggest direct leg, and he has Morgan under him, and then Morgan has Joali has Lavelle, right? Morgan also has Sammy has Heather, right? So then you have people going deep, right? So yes, I can have a ton of people wide, but if there's nobody under them, they're not really a leg. And that's where the double digit recruiting starts to grow, where you get wide yourself, hopefully at least 10 wide, but then from there, you're building people under, and Josh is going to go into the mechanics of that. So this is for the people that are working with people. Relationship building and spending time is extremely key, because in this business, you only have a little bit of like emotional capacity to deal with things that are going on, right? And so if you have a big team or a smaller team, or you're just getting started, this is still insanely important. It doesn't matter how many people you have. Even if you just have one person, if they're not doing the right things, do not waste your time with those people. A lot of times we aren't wide enough, we don't have enough people, and then we put all this time into people that are not doing the right things. This is like probably the biggest killer in the business. And the quicker you can realize this, the less frustration and strife you're gonna have. Like, so what do I mean by this? When we have teammates, they have to do things that aren't what we call red flags. They gotta return your call, right? If they're not returning a call, or worst case scenario, a text message, why are you even, why? How are they gonna build a team, get licensed, all that? They can't even return a call or a text, right? Are they trying to be a part of the big picture? Are they talking about things like, okay, well, if I do this, how does that help? How does that help the team? If I do this, how does that push the team up? So on and so forth. The big picture. If I get licensed, what's the goal of how many licenses we need per month? Being part of the big picture, that's a good thing, right? Are your teammates showing up? Oh my gosh, showing up. I mean, training is simple, guys. It's on Zoom now. So they just got to come on. And a lot of times we don't even force people to have their camera on. So if they can't even show up, how are they going to build a business? Are they getting better and self-sharpening? So getting better. Hey, new teammates can always ask questions. But if they're asking a question and you help answer it, and then they are asking the exact same question again, are they getting better? Maybe not, right? So you have to look at these things. If I ask Samir a question, or Josh asks me a question, or I ask Bruce a question, if he tells me the answer, I'm not necessarily trying to ask that same question again, right? So with that, are your new teammates getting better, whether it's learning concepts or materials, or the presentation? Are they getting better? Right? That's all we want. We don't need everyone to be perfect. Just, are you getting better from where you were before? And then self-sharpening. So I love this. I've never called it this before, but Bruce calls it self-sharpening. We just always say self-improvement, right? But we want sharp teammates. And so are people self-sharpening? Are they looking for audios? Are they asking you what's the next book to read? Are they saying, wow, oh my gosh, have you seen this video on YouTube? It's amazing, it's inspiring. Like, are they doing things like that to make themselves better for the business, better, well-rounded, being a better people person? Are they doing those things? And then, of course, putting in the activity that they need to get the results that they say they're going to get, or that they're going to do. So sometimes when we start working with people, they're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Okay, great. But this is where the rubber hits the road. As a coach, as a leader in the business, we always have to confirm, okay, well, if you're going to do 3x3 or 1x1 or 5x5, okay, what was your activity this past week? If it wasn't on track with that goal, then hey, that activity that you're doing, that's going to actually get you these results. If you say you want to do 5x5, this is what you actually have to be doing on a weekly basis to hit that. And if you understand the numbers of the business, you should know what ratios people need to be doing in order to be getting certain results. So when we talk about goals and things, we always want to confirm that's what your teammate is doing. All teammates want to know are two things. Brand new person to veterans. Is it worth it? And can I do it? Is it worth it? And can I do it? Is it worth it? Is this worth me putting in the time to get what I want later on? Is it worth going through all the no's to get what I want later on? Is it worth going through the rejection and the no-shows and all of those things? Is it worth it? As long as the picture is clear enough in their mind for them to know it's worth it, then they'll move forward. If they don't think it's worth it, they're going to quit, right? And then, can I do it? Can I do it is making sure they, number one, are self-improving, but number two, they have a system, they have a leader that they can follow, somebody that's helping them understand that, yes, you can do it. As long as you do this and you continue to do this, you'll be successful. So as long as your teammates know those two things, they'll stick around. But if any of those two things start to wane, then they're going to be gone. So I think these are things that are really, really important to think about your story and the intangibles, because time's valuable and you want to be investing the right time with the right people to help you get to the point of double-digit recruiting and doing it on a regular basis. So that's all I have. We're going to transition. Josh is going to go into some of the mechanics of why and how to double-digit recruit.